So what's the topic for today?
Feminism.
It's a touchy one.
We as fathers cannot celebrate Father's Day in peace. The moment Father's Day comes on, you have women and say, I was a father to my son. I was like, no, you were a mother, you were not a father.
You know, a woman will not dig a hole, but a woman will convince you to dig that hole further. And that's true power. You know, and that's
A vampire, I can tell you.
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. He was abused in that
Johnny
relationship.
Depp was abused. Believe everyone.
What do you think happened to her? Nothing.
We're talking about the evolution of human beings. And it talks about the empathy of a woman and how important it was to create a lineage of the right kind of human being. You feel, you know.
Welcome to the first ever Big Thursday show. Now, the name, it was a bit of an issue where I know Batwana Hanor.
The name is going to change.
What is it going to change? No, I like it.
I like it too.
So much history behind it. No one knows, which is
But
inside joke.
no, but it is an inside joke. But what I like about it is that we're going to be looking at things where we understand that when we look at thick questions, we need to tackle a thick question by identifying all the chuckles in between, which will eventually answer the thick question we have. Hence, Thick Thursday on a Thursday. It's a show.
Alright.
And look, we at the Julie Bean. It's a coffee shop. Julie Bean. It's a Julie
So
Bean.
quite nice coffee here.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the sun. It's nice. People are running. I'm not that fit, but I'm fit to drink coffee.
It was a team.
So my
So what's the topic for today?
feminism.
It's a touchy one.
Well, it's touchy to many, but I think we need to look at the situation and we need to talk about things for us as a society to move forward.
Yeah.
We can't always avoid something because it's touchy. You know? I mean, we have to address it. And you kind of feel that with feminism, we men at some point we felt left out. We felt, maybe I'm putting it the wrong way when I say we felt left out. We felt targeted. We felt like we villains in this movie.
Yeah, here's the thing about feminism. It's a trend.
Yeah.
It's a good trend.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a good trend.
At some parts.
Well, yeah, there's going to be bad parts about it, obviously. You can't have the greatest of the great in everything. You know?
Sure.
But
Yeah, I was going to ask, man, one question we have from the viewers is that why don't we have a female here talking about engaging us with feminism?
I mean, look. The thing is, we've seen a lot of that where you've got shows or whatever where women are there and then there's that discussion about that. But I think what's important with us, and by the way, I mean, when I said Thick Thursday, it's not a boys club, but it's not a boys
I
club.
thought we started this because we thought that women wanted to hear a viewpoint of South African men.
Yes, they should hear a viewpoint from South African men, but also, I mean, we buddies, we brothers. So this is our perspective on things, or perspective in South Africa.
Perspective on feminism.
So we essentially started with feminism on how we see it. So maybe in the future we can have guests to join our conversation, but this was our pilot show and it's about us.
It really sounds like a boys club.
Well, you know, another thing. So we look at this and we say it's a boys' club. Right? But if it were women having this conversation, it wouldn't be tagged as anything.
Yeah.
It depends on the climate, doesn't it?
And the time.
Yeah. So it's just because it's men doing it, it's wrong. But when women
According to this climate, we're wrong.
yes,
Maybe if we go to another climate,
Okay,
This
so
is just guys just talking.
So here's a question. Ne? Hierarchy. Do we believe in hierarchy? Like, as in, there needs to be authority and. Do we be? Let me just. Put it,
I certainly believe in it. I certainly believe in it.
Okay. So now, looking at that, now again, I'm not playing down to patriotism, patriarchy. That's there. But you also need to understand that in hierarchy, you're also going to have the people who are at the top and there are those at the bottom, which you can. I don't want to give terms, but we understand the whole hierarchy thing. Now, depending on which, let's say, industry you're looking at it, the hierarchy changes. For instance, let's look at schools. It's majority women.
Yeah.
Right? But do you hear any complaints from men in saying that, look, why are there not more men involved as teachers or as compared to other industries where there's an outcry to say women are left out?
Do men want to be in that?
That's another question.
Yeah.
I think as a society sometimes we need to understand that it goes with personalities, it goes with what we like. And there are certain jobs that women don't want to do. Similarly to there are certain jobs that men don't want to do. Now, one can attribute that to maybe as a social construct where we all grew up where being a nurse is something that's looked down on as a man. You know,
It is a social construct,
yeah, when you can't be a nurse as a man. That is changing a little bit, but in effect, we can't force people to do stuff that they don't want to do.
That's a big part of what feminism. I mean, the society is pushing women to be, take for example, engineers, and because of this engineering field or this sector has been dominated by males, you find in history or research actually proves that they mostly are attracted to they mostly like things, they're attracted to things, and women, because of the emotional ways, they are actually they are more attracted to, they are more nurturing people spirits and people, if you are in danger, for example, in the street, you mostly would run to a woman and say, you know what, protect me.
What you're talking about brings me to this documentary I was watching, and they were talking about the evolution of human beings. And it talks about the empathy of women and how important it was to create a lineage of the right kind of human being.
You feel
if it wasn't for women's empathy, then there wouldn't be the right kind of people. Not even a man, like a whole people.
But it seems as if that is not important, and that is hugely important.
Empathy is a superpower, which women don't even have.
So now, so there's these movements that are against each other, like womanism and feminism. Right? But when you look at
Womanism and feminism, that's a
but the definition of womanism has changed to what it was originally. So effectively, if I would explain it, so womanism is like the mother of feminism, basically, right? But now it has come to a point where it's almost like they're against each other. Because, I don't know if you knew this, there are 3 waves of feminism. So the first wave, it's that time when I told you about that movie that we saw about when feminist movement started, when they went to the first, the world pageant where you had the first black contestant competing. Right? So now, initially, feminism, it was women it was a movement for white women, basically, to get equal rights to men, but it was specifically for white women only. So that was the first wave. But because they left out black women, then there was a second wave again. But even with that, with the second wave, they still excluded a certain class, so it wasn't an inclusive thing to a point where now we're at the third wave, where essentially I think they're all welcoming everyone. But what highlights that is that you understand the reason behind why feminist movement started, but at the same time, we've seen this where if you don't align with their views, be almost like an enemy or some sort. Like you, no.
Like anything else, my man. The way you explained it, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, you're explaining it like it's evolving, and it is. You see, at the point of where it is right now, because of the internet, it's spreading like wildfire. It's
Sure.
few everywhere. Different women from all over the world are communicating, talking. You know, it's not just a couple of Caucasian women talking in a group, screaming at Caucasian men. Then you know, a bunch of black women coming in to help, and then it's a movement. No, it's globally now.
But you see, with how I explained,
Globally, women are talking now. That's a scary thing for me.
I mean,
But it's also
take
a fantastic thing. It's a fantastic time
Also,
to
take in
learn.
consideration how influential, like women, God gave them the ability to persuade, influence. I mean, the ability to actually talk to a man and say and persuade you to do something that she actually wants to do. Like for example, if I want to buy a house, I can't buy my house. I have to get my woman actually convince me to buy that one because she likes the kitchen. I don't care about the kitchen. So women have the ability. Imagine they're global. And what you mentioned on they're global become the big movement.
But my man, I think they've been influencing us.
they've been.
Yeah, which is
It's a good way. Yeah, it's a natural thing.
Yeah, it's a subtle art. Some women just have it, and we call them, what do you call them? Manhunters, cougars, strong women. Yeah.
But coming back to the point I was trying to make in all these waves of feminism, right?
No.
But now,
I still like to touch on a bit on what you were saying because it was very interesting. We'll come back on that feminism part, but what you were saying was very interesting on the influence of women in men's societies.
look, the fact that we're here talking about it tells you the influence.
We all agree that women are the bearers of cultures and language.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
No, that's true.
We can also agree that most men became men because of women.
Yeah. There's a number of
So
stories
the
of
influence
men
of
changing.
women, like
It's
you said,
enormous.
it's immense, my man.
The fact that we're here talking about it, I mean,
I heard this. Is it a monologue or a poem in one of Beyonce's tracks? You know that Black is King.
Yeah.
One guy was saying that he learned most of his manhood from men. He learned most from women and some from men. That's what he said. Yeah, he learned most of his manhood from women. I mean, sorry.
But the thing with that, man, is, and this is, I think that it's a problem when a woman tells you how to be a man.
Of course, it's a problem. Ideally, we should be told by other men.
Yes. Because if anything, I mean, hell, even feminists should be able to agree on this, that male presence or male, let's say, as a mentor to a boy, it's important to have a male mentor to a boy. Not to say that a boy doesn't need a woman or whatever, but we bring different qualities.
My thing is that a good woman can raise a good man. You see, a good woman can raise a good person, but only a man can raise a man.
Yes.
So, you see,
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And this is why I say that you look at that and be like, no, you can understand. Look, I was raised by a single mother. Most of South Africans are raised by single mothers, and you're taking nothing away from that. We love our mothers and all that, but we're also acknowledging that having father figures is so important to a boy. You know, the thing is, once you even say that kind of statement,
Father figures
immediately a person would run and say,
fathers are parents, just like mothers.
yeah,
We just have to assert, just like this feminist wing, we just have to assert ourselves as parents, especially as black men.
check this. We as fathers cannot celebrate Father's Day in peace. The moment Father's Day comes on, you have women that say, I was a father to my son. Or I was like, no, you were a mother, you were not a father. And this is where I'm like, when it's Mother's Day, it's Mother's Day. There's no problem. Nobody says nothing about single fathers or whatever. You get what I mean?
A woman that hurt, you actually what to can summon everything and anything that has to do
That's the
with
thing,
male dominance.
though.
But it's a man's world, right?
Nah, man.
I believe that.
is.
Honestly, I honestly believe that it's a man's world.
That's not love.
And then the reason being is because if you look at the take it back to Adam and Eve. God created Adam first, man's world.
It's debatable.
Eve came later.
As they would say, the Bible is patriarchal, yeah?
Yeah. And I'm not a feminist. It's just there. It's plain facts. The Bible is very patriarchal. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, we need to celebrate, like, when we celebrate Father's Day, I have a problem with women who come and say, I'm a single mother. No, it's not single Mother's Day.
Yeah.
It's Father's Day. We're celebrating fathers. If you're not a father,
Tula.
like Tula,
Yeah.
like, you know, don't come and say, yeah, I'm a single mother, I've been teaching, I've been taking Father's Day. No,
Yeah.
no, you are a mother to your son or your daughter. Simple.
I honestly believe that we are not the same. We are not equals.
Okay?
I certainly believe that women are a better extract of men.
Yes.
Women are smarter, I believe personally, but they are not stronger. I'm saying physically stronger. You know, a woman will not dig a hole, but a woman will convince you to dig that hole for her. And that's true power.
Exactly.
You know, and
A vampire, I can tell you.
The way you said it, my man. That's perfect.
and they should not come up and seem as if, okay, it is a man's power because you know men we are very competitive.
Like we were talking earlier that some women hate being called emotional because they see emotions.
Yeah, they do. As soon as you mention that,
and like you said, emotions can be used as true strength.
It's true strength. Take for example, memory and emotion. If a woman remembers everything and anything that you do to her, whether it be negative or positive, but a man won't because she attaches everything you do to her to an emotion.
Yeah, she fuses it.
Yes, she fuses it with an emotion. Where now you don't care. You're like, did I do that? Or
you can't understand where, like you said, it was something that was used in a negative way. So hence, when you say that, it's received in a negative way, because it wasn't intended to be negative. Like it was actually a compliment.
Yes.
You know, to say, look, we go back to the nurturing part where they're the best at it. You know, it's not by mistake when your daughter or your son, when they want something, they go to their mother because they know they're going to get something specific from them, and they're going to get something. Like for instance, I would make an example with my son. Right? When he wants to be all physical or play, he knows I'm gonna clamp on that guy, I'm gonna jump on him, I'm gonna do all that, and my mother doesn't like that, you know. But when I'm sobbing or crying or whatever, I know I'll go to her, you know, rather than this guy, you know. And it's perfectly normal. It's not something that it's something that we created. It's there. You know, you grow up with it.
Yeah, but everything is psychological, man.
Yes.
People want to people are basically waking up. So whatever we're lashing out, it's I think it's a way of trying to find direction. You know. So you see a feminist lashing out. No, they're just waking up. They're just realizing that they got the raw end of the deal. And yeah, some feminists think that they got the raw end of the deal. That being a woman is you know, it's terrible. It's really cursed.
yeah,
Something that even giving birth is a patriarchal thing that it was just forced upon them. It's not a natural thing.
it's crazy. I mean, I've heard women say that if they die and come back,
But
they want to be male.
I was gonna come back to the point that you were making, man.
Yeah, which one?
It's very interesting. You got me hooked on that. On what you were saying. I just have to remember it because I went so deep on it. Oh yeah, your belief system about women. It doesn't coincide with the Adam and Eve Bible theory.
It doesn't coincide.
For me.
For you, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's another story.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no reason. But okay, so coming back to the womanism, feminism, man. Now I mentioned that womanism is the mother of feminism, but now they're against each other. Where womanism basically, they say that it's okay for women to want to be housewives. Because I think with feminism it got to a point where it's almost like certain women were forcing other women to say, this is what you should be. Right? And where if you look at it from a you have the right to choose, then women certainly have the right to choose what they want to be. If I want to be a corporate woman or who works and all that, then that's okay. But it's also okay for women to say, I want to be a housewife. I want to look after my kids and all that.
There's nothing wrong with being a housewife.
There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not what you're getting from feminism. And the fact, look, I appreciate the evolvement of feminism.
Like you said, there's tiers of feminism. So the ones that are saying that being a housewife is
the heavy
bad.
evolved.
Yeah, the ones that are influencing, the stronger ones that are influencing the weaker ones that
But it's not weakness, it's just influence, right?
yeah, if you are being influenced, that means someone stronger than you is influencing.
Is it?
If you are being influenced,
Yeah.
that means someone stronger than you is being
Is it at a point where we can say it's peer pressure?
Probably.
But that's influence.
Yeah, I know.
Like peer pressure, when influence can be positive,
Yeah,
but peer pressure is something that can, it's something in the negative light.
influence.
As I said before, I know my wife doesn't want to do a 9 to 5. She'll suffocate doing a 9 to 5. She's a creative, right? She would rather do what pack flowers or whatever the case may be, right? And do womanly things, right? Because it's natural with her.
Okay, if you say that womanly things, that's womanly
But
things.
if you take, for example, a woman in a corporate structure and she's a lawyer and she wants to become a CEO of the particular company, she needs to know that she's competing with men. And that's
Sure.
where feminism comes from. Because, I'm trying to, we do the same job and I get paid less. Where this guy will be doing the same job, right?
Have feminism, there won't be power suits.
Hey Joe, and then that's where it actually mostly comes from. With they want to be paid the same as men, or be looked at the same as men, or be acknowledged as the same
I'm
as
not
men.
against that. I'm not against if a female counterpart has the same qualification as me, has the same experience. I don't see why there should be a pay gap between the two. That I'm not against.
In tennis, there was an issue with Serena or the tennis players. Male tennis players were paid more than women tennis players.
But there's a reason why it's like that. Especially if we're looking at sports, you talk about investment, you talk about sponsorship, right? So for instance, there's a lot of more sponsors for men's sport to women's sport. So the money that's being paid to people, it's in relation to how much money is being invested in.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily something that you deliberately say, we'll pay women less and we'll pay men more. No, there are more people. Because look, again, when you're looking at sport,
I'm not going to watch women's cricket.
Honestly, I'm not gonna watch women's rugby.
It still needs to evolve.
I get it. The thing is, you spoke about physicality from a main point of view, that we feel physical to an extent that we are faster, we are stronger. So when you're looking at sport where physicality is very important, so the game is faster, the game is...
You know what?
So there's a difference.
You know what I did watch? And it's going to sound hella... what do you call it? Chauvinistic. But I did watch it. And they should invest hella money on it. Netball. My goodness, netball is amazing. Like I watched it like I would watch a game of basketball. Yeah.
It's at that level. It's at that level.
I don't know why they're not putting more money into that.
Okay. Are they?
I'm telling you, man.
That's how chauvinist is.
Not even. No, but Neil's correct. Look, even in primary high school, I flipping went to netball games. I watched them because they were fun that day.
You think
Look,
I didn't go because it was fine.
he's a perfect.
Sana was a joke. Sana was a joke in his 2 years. So all he did was just run and do everything with me.
But look, I can say this. Apart from netball, I also enjoy women's tennis. The Serenas, the Venus, the Sharapovas. I do enjoy, and even the pay look, it might not be the same as the Roger Federers and the Nadals, but it's the money is growing. There's more money now.
Women's netball, ice skating, there's so many sports. Gymnastics.
Are they dominating in gymnastics?
They are.
Why are
The
they
most
crying?
famous
Dude.
gymnast is Simone Biles.
And another thing,
Do you know a man's famous gymnast?
I don't know.
Another thing about gymnastics that when it's the Olympics, are you gonna watch men doing the gym? No, you gotta flip it. And not because of jail. No. Not for those. Like,
I'm gonna watch it for visuals and for technique. I'm not gonna hide myself.
But I
their
was still,
technique is impeccable.
Yeah.
The way they bend their bodies.
And the thick thighs as well. That's fantastic as well.
moment of silence.
I'm not as don't look at me like that.
No,
I'm not as bad as
but
you say.
you know what? We can't
say
hide. We
gymnastics.
can't hide the truth.
see-
It is there. It is there. Look, I'm not gonna act here. I'm like nah. Look, it is there. It is there.
What do you say gymnastics?
Similarly to
Can I say you're in gymnastics again?
yeah.
Since we're talking about feminism.
I think the thing is, my question then to that is, isn't that also the social construct that we're also in that, as I say, we shouldn't objectify them and looking at it as, you know, something to appease us or whatever?
But women are the visually,
But-
women are just better. I mean,
But
Yeah.
like, they naturally just beautiful. I mean, they were probably created because of their beauty, you know. And some women flaunt it unnecessarily so. Whether be working half naked on the streets, but however, they're looking for.
I agree with my man over there. Women are just beautiful.
It's just
They are.
And different type of bodies, soft skin, beautiful eyes, big butts. Did I mention big butts?
They are.
Did I mention big butts?
Don't discriminate against people who don't have big butts.
I prefer big butts. Did I mention
But
big
I mean,
butts?
they
Okay,
know
so,
they
so here's another. So, do you believe that all of us, men and women, are narrow-minded in some way?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I think it's acceptable for people to say certain things and they're like, no, it's okay. Like for instance, a woman would generally say, I want a tall guy, and it's okay for a woman to say that. But when as a man, if you come and say, no, I don't want
But no.
a woman who weighs over 70 kgs, and they're like, hey,
It's body shaming.
It's body shaming. But it's okay for a woman to say, no, I want.
So it's
and,
okay?
And the thing is, Mina, I'm okay with a person having preference.
yeah.
I have my own preferences. Similarly to other women have preferences. But I'm against this thing that my preferences are going to be looked at in a negative way.
So
and saying,
would it be
why now you
would it be body shaming if you say that no, but Chomi, when this is them talking, no, but Chomi, he's small.
yeah.
You know, it's like they're talking about your man.
It's they say heightism.
It's
Heightism, yeah.
basically,
No,
you
small in the
guys-
sense
Short,
of
short
she-
guys are discriminated against.
basically, you guys are debating whether women can be assholes or not.
Yes,
They are.
Yes,
They are.
they completely are. I mean,
Dude, look, I wanna.
in some form of way, yeah.
Yeah,
No, not from some form of.
but I did
Just
say-
like men can be assholes, women can be assholes as well.
They can be, yes. They can be villains too. It's just like that's the thing. They can be villains too. It's just that this narrative is pushed so much that when a woman does wrong, it's not. There's no spotlight on it. But if you as a man do something wrong, there's going to be a spotlight.
You're
on
just
it.
generalizing, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, similarly to classism, for instance. Then I'll create this scenario. So say Sanele, you are Patrice Motsepe or you are Cyril Ramaphosa. Then
Eventually, someday.
you can say some controversial things or maybe stuff that women generally would say it's uncomfortable or you know
Yeah.
you would say that and it will be received in a good way like oh no start it. Then I come either normal layman
Yeah.
and then I see that it's like you're such a pig. That happens a lot, dude. And again, when you look at, let's say, obviously what resulted obviously from the feminist movement, we have the Me Too movement,
Yeah.
hashtag men are trash, and I mean, guys, you know how I feel about the Me Too movement. First of all,
It's a headache.
I understand
Can I say?
because the
can
way
I say me
the way it
too?
even started, the way it
Or
even
can I say me too? Can the men start their own hashtag and be as big as women's hashtag?
No. We can't overtake women's movement now. They need to be heard.
As they say, it's a reaction to what they do. So you're trying to counter what they say.
You can't do that.
But they can counter us.
Well, effectively.
You know what I mean? And like I said, right now, I believe we're in an era where we just have to sit down, shut the fuck up, and
I'm telling
listen.
you now, if there's a woman president, you know that we will see flames as men. But anyway, continue.
What? What did you say?
Look.
What did you say?
I'm saying if there's a woman president,
We will see flames.
we will see flames as men.
Okay. So
I don't think-
here's a question.
Come on now.
Here's a question. So I get it. There's this thing here, equality, equity, right? So now the question I would ask is, when we as a society are in a situation of 50-50, everything 50-50, workplace it's 50 women, 50 men, blah 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 blah. You get the gist. Would that then eradicate patriarchy? In that moment, would we then say, okay, there's no more patriarchy?
I don't know. I'm just taking the moment to even think of that.
The problem is that when women even agree to 50-50, you know, women always say 50-50 when it suits them.
That's another
Convenience.
Well, convenience,
You
yes.
see, look, okay, going back to the Me Too, let's look at the Johnny Depp situation. Then he was the one who was abused in that relationship.
Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp. He was abused in that
Yeah, the
relationship.
relationship was abused.
But she came out and said she was abused. The Me Too movement went, everybody believed her. Yeah?
Believe everyone.
Believe everyone. Believe her. So now the truth comes out, the truth comes out that she was actually the one who was the abuser. Man, what do you think happened to her? It's Amber, and nothing. It's quiet. Hell, she even went to the Oscars and that.
Really?
That's how it is. When,
That's how
when
much
a
power
woman
women
does
have.
something wrong, it's okay. Like, okay, we'll brush it under the carpet. Like,
No. I also believe why it happened. You know, they had to brush it under the carpet. How many?
it doesn't suit the narrative.
Yeah, it doesn't suit the narrative. You know, men are still accountable. Even if a person like Johnny Depp gets abused, you know, dude, F Johnny Depp, he gets to smoke cocaine with anyone he wants. You know, I'm thinking that.
It's because of the fan base. I mean, women.
The thing is, that
No,
we
like,
can't go with the believe all. Believe all.
What I'm trying to what I'm trying to say is that the million rapes of Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein and all those other men, you don't automatically get cancelled just because Johnny Depp got abused, or you know,
Like, you agree with that?
like one.
But no. The thing is, what
I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Don't believe.
Oh,
Don't
yeah,
believe.
you can't believe all. There's crazy women.
There needs to be
They're
some,
cuckoo.
yeah, there needs to be some justice, some process. Let me say due process. Like,
Can I ask, the men who get raped, can I attach themselves to the Me Too movement?
No.
it's a
Men in jail
The thing is,
get raped every day.
if you compare the number of women to men, yes, it is happening. Look, I would agree in extent in saying that it can't be something that you say it's okay when a man gets raped, and you know people would laugh at you, as we've seen as a man. If you say you're raped, they laugh, they're like how and all that. Man, that is wrong. But if you compare the number, obviously it's a small percentage compared to women.
Regardless, it's wrong, right?
It is wrong. Hence I say that you can't come with a statement like believe all, because there are those who do wrong, and you can acknowledge that and say
The assholes.
the assholes that are there. Because look, essentially what the Me Too movement has done, listen to policies that have been changed by Netflix, Google, and them. You can't look at a woman for more than 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That is some form of sexual harassment. Like in the workplace, you can't.
What if you're attracted to her?
Oh, in a workplace.
Four.
I don't care about workplace rules. You know, you mean someone is building and stuff like that.
No.
But you know, I know it's where you
You
spend
know
most
why-
of
you know
your
why I
time.
say this?
Wait. I know it's where you spend most of your day, but you know, when it comes to workplace stuff, there's always a law that can say you're wrong, even though you think morally, oh, it's just looking. Or when it comes to workplace, but
But you see, the problem is, if you get called by HR because you looked at her for more than 5 seconds, and then now you see, come on, man, that's ridiculous. And the thing is, again, I go back to, let's say we are all working in the same company, and there's a woman, man, and you, Sanela, are friendly with her. You go talk to her, oh, Sanela, you buy her flowers, that's okay.
Yeah.
Man. I do it, I'm a creep. But we're not cancelling out any form of sexual harassment. But sometimes there are certain things, because it's coming from a certain individual, it's received in a negative way, even though it wasn't intended to be. Ne? And it's then taken out of proportion where you are now branded as something. Because if you get called by HR, you get fired because of, let's say you were yelling at somebody or whatever, and then now you're basically in the same box as sexual assault and all that. So why were you fired? No, I sexually harassed somebody. Or you're a rapist. You see how easily it can get there.
I get you. It goes to the extreme. I mean, like, if then she accuses you of sexual harassment or someone or rape, can she be labeled as a sexual, as someone who's wrong, or be prosecuted for it?
That's the thing. We're all equal, so yes.
No, okay, cool. But then some women have said to that guy, like, I don't raped you, and Ivan has been taken to jail, investigated, and all that, and found out, no, Ivan is actually innocent, right? Can the woman take the same offense for saying that Ivan is?
You can only sue for defamation of character. You can only sue. But I think the thing is the problem with once the damage is done, it's almost like, I mean, was it really similarly to, I can say this, let's say you're wrongfully accused about a crime. You go to jail for 20 years, and then they come there like, by the way, what you were saying was the truth. You didn't do it. They release you and they pay you money. Is it enough?
Yeah.
You lost 20 years of your life. So similarly to this, if you're being accused of a serious crime like rape or anything, we need to go with, there needs to be due process. Now, with due process, obviously there's a downside to that. That look, if you as a woman get raped, unfortunately you don't have they react different. You know, there are those who are courageous enough to go to a police station where there's a rape kit and do all the tests, and there are those who probably wait a year or 5 years later or so, and it becomes difficult to prove that. But that's the unfortunate part of that, where it's that and that's the end result.
I get what you say.
But it's
We're having a conversation regarding the rape cases just came up told us more.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a lady who accused him of raping her a few years back.
Yeah.
Now everybody's looking at Torres more like he's a bad boy, right?
Yeah. That's what it is.
That lady's like, oh my god,
trial by media.
This happened to you, you know? But why did she wait that long? Maybe there's other emotional things, man.
Hey, we can't say that. Victims respond differently.
Yeah, they do respond differently. But I'm like, now, how would that, as you mentioned now, Ivan, how would that tarnish the image of this guy?
What's your argument?
If we find that this lady
you
was
are
actually
guilty before proven innocent.
Exactly.
Trial by media.
Even though this Atolism was found
Innocent.
not guilty or innocent.
The damage was already done.
The damage is done.
Did you go to the media, this person?
Sorry?
Did you go to the media, this woman?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
hashtag Sanele, and then done. It's over.
that's
Your life
how
is
she
over.
approached it. She went straight to the media.
I don't know what the process was, but I know it came out that she was a victim of a rape.
And how did it come out? Via her or an article?
I'm not sure.
Now I'm going to judge it how it comes out.
Based on how it comes out. But coming out is coming out, dog. It doesn't matter how it comes out. I mean, if Thomas More comes out by an article, then it's on him. All eyes are on him. Like for example, this Java rape that came out a few months back. Everyone says Java's a bad boy. You know?
He lost gigs and all that.
I don't even know how that came out. Yes, he did lose gigs. I don't even know how that came out.
But I guess, you know what? I'm thinking about it. Sometimes coming out publicly just means that the process of justice was just slow, and they're just
maybe.
Yeah, that is also a possibility. But what we say is we believe in due process, and this whole trial by media is wrong because people lose their lives because of that. And
due process is also controlled by men. In that way. How scary is that for women?
Okay, let's plug it there. Let's plug it there. Holy shikes.
Yeah.
Let's plug it. Look, what was said in this discussion, it was what we felt, it's what we think. So essentially, Thick Thursday show, we look at a thick question, as I've said, where there are fixed, there are dynamic, there are thick knowledge, and us, we are open to learning new things as the show progresses, where if there is a wrong perception about something, we welcome that. But similarly, these are sort of discussions that are being held by men, where we talk about feminism, and we hope that it shed a light into what actually goes on, and we would appreciate your input, where you guys can comment and tell us what you guys think, what's your viewpoint on what we just discussed. I hope you enjoyed our first segment of the show. I'm Ivan Koza, all the way from Mamelodi.
Oh, you're doing the...
Yeah, the intro. I mean, they should know who you are.
The outro.
That's my name, but
Or maybe it's up there.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's Neo, by the way.
Who doesn't want to say?
No, I'm not gonna say.
Sanele, Caesar, also for my
I'm joking, my name is Nelson Nagi.
Oh. Well, anyway, guys.
For those who can read. I'm sorry, but it's a serious thing.
Yeah, it is.
We should discuss it.
On our other segments. Well, anyway, cheers, guys. We hope you enjoyed this one.